Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashoda Nandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yashoda Yashoda Nandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hari, Nitai Gauranga. Jai Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Gaura Hari. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Haribo. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajagacharya Ashtottara Satasri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charanara Vinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki, Prem Se Kaho Si Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki, Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki, Shri Prabhupada Ki, Prabhupada Noga Ki, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories assembled devotees, all glories assembled devotees, all glories assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai Ki. Make the fan less, minimum. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato jayam udirayet nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatiruttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, text 44 of Canto 2, chapter 9. 45. Reading from Canto 2, chapter 9, text 45. Naradaha praha munaye saraswatyas tate nripa dhyayate brahma paramam vyasaya mita tejase. Please repeat. Naradaha praha munaye saraswatyas tate nripa ध्यायते ब्रह्म परमम् व्यासायामित तेजसे नारदः प्राह मुनये सरस्वत्यास्तटे नृप ध्यायते ब्रह्म परमम् व्यासायामित तेजसे नारदः प्राह मुनये सरस्वत्यास्तटे नृप ध्यायते ब्रह्म परमम् व्यासायामित तेजसे. Narada, the great sage Narada, Praha, instructed, Munaye, unto the great sage, Saraswatyaha, of the river Saraswati, Tate, on the bank, Dripa, O king, Dhyayate, unto the meditative, Brahma, absolute truth, Paramam, the supreme, Vyasaya, unto Srila Vyasadeva, Amita, unlimited, Tejase, unto the powerful, Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. In succession, O King, the great sage Narada instructed Srimad Bhagavatam unto the unlimitedly powerful Vyasadeva, who meditated in devotional service upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, on the bank of the river Saraswati. Purport. In the 5th chapter of the 1st canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Narada instructed the great sage Vyasadeva as follows. Ato mahabhaga bhavan amogadrik suchi shravaha satya rato dhratavrataha urukramasya khila bandha muktaye samadhinanusmara tadvicheshtitam. O greatly fortunate, pious philosopher, your name and fame are universal, and you are fixed in the absolute truth with spotless character and infallible vision. I ask you to meditate upon the activities of the personality of Godhead, whose activities are unparalleled. So in the disciplic succession of the Brahma Sampradaya, the practice of yoga meditation is not neglected. But because the devotees are bhakti yogis, they do not undertake the trouble to meditate upon the impersonal Brahman as indicated here. They meditate on Brahma Paramam, or the Supreme Brahman. Brahman realization begins from the impersonal effulgence, but by further progress of such meditation, manifestation of the Supreme Soul Paramatma realization takes place. And progressing further, realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is fixed. Sri Narada Muni, as the spiritual master of Vyasadeva, knew very well the position of Vyasadeva, and thus he certified the qualities of Srila Vyasadeva as fixed in the absolute truth with great vow, etc. Narada advised meditation upon the transcendental activities of the Lord. Impersonal Brahman has no activities, but the personality of Godhead has many activities, and all such activities are transcendental, without any tinge of material quality. If the activities of the Supreme Brahman were material activities, then Narada would not have advised Vyasadeva to meditate upon them. And the Parabrahman is Lord Krishna, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. In the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna realized the factual position of Lord Krishna, he addressed Lord Krishna in the following words: Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adi Devam Ajam Vibhum Ahustvam Rishayah Sarve Devarishir Naradastata Asito Devalo Vyasaha Swayam Chaiva Pravishime. Arjuna summarized the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita by his realization of Lord Sri Krishna and thus said, My dear personality of Godhead, you are the Supreme Absolute Truth, the original person and the eternal form of bliss and knowledge. And this is confirmed by Narada, Asita, Devala and Vyasadeva, and above all your personal self has also confirmed it. When Vyasadeva fixed his mind in meditation, he did it in Bhakti Yoga, trance, and actually saw the Supreme Person with Maya, the illusory energy, in contraposition. As we have discussed before, the Lord's Maya or illusion is also a representation because Maya has no existence without the Lord. Darkness is not independent of light. Without light, no one can experience the contraposition of darkness. However, this Maya or illusion cannot overcome the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but stands apart from Him, apashayam. Godhead along with His transcendental activities. Meditation on the impersonal Brahman is a troublesome business for the meditator, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Klesho adhikataras tesham avyakta sakta chetasam. Om Tat Sat. Om Gyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanavitam Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Naradaha praha muneye saraswatyas tate nripa dhyayate brahma paramam vyasaya mitachet tejase. So we are hearing about how Narada Muni has instructed Vyasadeva. He has heard the Bhagavatam from Krishna, from his father Brahma, who has heard the Bhagavatam from the Supreme Lord Krishna. Tene Brahma Hridayadi Kavaye. From the heart of Brahma, Krishna instructed. And then Brahma instructed it to Narada. And Narada instructed to Vyasa. Vyasa instructed to Shukadeva Goswami. Shukadeva Goswami spoke to a huge assembly of sages where there was Suta Goswami, and Suta Goswami later spoke in Naimisharanya to all the sages headed by Shaunaka Rishi. In this way the Bhagavatam has been coming evam parampara praptam. So it's mentioned here that you can hear the Bhagavatam, which is very important instruction. But after that, Narada asked Vyasadeva to meditate on the transcendental pastimes, activities of Krishna. And Vyasadeva is known to have done that. We have read that in the first canto. He meditated and he had a vision of the Lord. He actually saw Krishna. He saw Krishna's internal energy, his Maya energy. He saw all the living entities struggling inside Maya because of their forgetfulness of the Lord. He had a full picture of the whole thing in front of him. This was an amazing realization he had because he followed the instruction of his Guru, Narada. And he asked him to meditate. And then the meditation yielded this drishti, this amazing vision. And after that, after seeing it and getting convinced, he compiled the Srimad Bhagavatam. He compiled the Srimad Bhagavatam. So it is not that anybody can write the Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? Of course, nobody stops you, you can write. But you will not express what is supposed to be expressed. You will not be able to give the correct understanding and meaning. That's what is mentioned here, that Vyasadeva, who is a literary incarnation of the Supreme Lord, is also following the process of accepting a Guru, hearing from the Guru, listening to the Guru and writing. It's not that because of an incarnation of the Lord I can skip these steps. There is a process. Prabhupada explained this is a scientific process. You can't skip. You have to follow. And then the necessary things will happen to you, which is you will have realization of the Lord. And then not only that, you will develop love for God. And when you develop love for God, you can actually experience it. You can actually experience it. In this way, you know what is mentioned is confirmed. 100% confirmed. That is how you come to fully have conviction and belief. It's not that Narada spoke to Vyasa and he wrote an examination and after that forgot it. This is how we treat knowledge. What do? We hear, oh very nice, I'll take down some notes. After that you don't know what to do with it. What do you do with the knowledge? Knowledge is meant for you to develop finally self-realization. That's a Brahman stage. That's explained in the purport by Prabhupada. After that, Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. From the Brahman stage means you have shed yourself of all material influence. After that, Mad Bhaktim Labate Param, which is much higher than just knowledge. Much higher than just knowledge. So developing love for Krishna is the topmost business. It's the topmost achievement. That Vyasadeva is showing and he achieved it. Then he is writing the Bhagavatam basis of his experience of the Drishti. This is how the Bhagavatam has come out for us. Now all of us can actually read the Bhagavatam. We can hear the Bhagavatam, which is all very, very nice to do. Because that is mentioned in the Bhagavatam itself. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. And it develops gradually into Bhakti. That is also mentioned in it. But there is an in-between steps that has been detailed here. Meditate on Krishna is the instruction given to Vyasadeva. How do you meditate? How do you meditate? The whole world is being swept by the meditation business. I heard it is a $67 billion business, yoga. Yoga is meant for meditating on the Lord. But they do everything else but meditating on the Lord. It's an amazing business. They do everything else but meditation on the Lord. You have to be secular. You have to be neutral. Don't force. Don't force. But why do you want to use yoga then? Use something of your own. Yoga is meant for this purpose, for meditation on the Supreme Lord. That is the end of yoga. Why do you utilize yoga and use it for some other very, very minor purpose of good health so that I can enjoy better and things like that? Those are all very small byproducts of yoga. Why don't you simply try something else? Because the purpose of yoga is to develop love for Krishna. Yoginam api sarvesham madgate nantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tomo mataha. Yukta uttama mataha. Krishna is explaining very clearly, yoga should lead to falling in love with me and becoming my devotee. This is the purpose of yoga. But the whole world is using yoga according to what they think. Meditation for them means meditating on any object, meditating on Brahman. Very rarely that they do. They meditate on light. They meditate on... I've heard all sorts of things. What did you meditate on? Light. What do you meditate on? Nothingness. So, it must be very difficult to do. How to meditate on nothing? Something is required to meditate on. He has made meditation on nothing. It's always very confusing when you ask them, what are you meditating on? And I've always wondered, how is it possible to meditate on all these things? But it is so easy to meditate on Krishna. Because Krishna has got so many attractive features. It attracts you. And you want to think about Krishna always. And in this way, Krishna makes it very easy for you to meditate on him. Because he is fantastic. Aishwaryasya viryasya yashashaha shriyaha jnana vairagayos chaiva sannam bhagam. He has got so many wonderful qualities. He is extremely beautiful to look at. He is powerful. He is very famous. He is full of knowledge. He is full of renunciation. All these things are there. It is easy to meditate. So natural to meditate. And you can fall in love with Krishna very easily. Krishna has already made it possible for you to fall in love with him. You have to work very hard not to fall in love with Krishna, actually. And we are doing that. We are actually working very hard in this world to be attracted to everything else, which is so temporary and which fails us and which gives us a bad experience. And we work very hard. Whole civilization is based on how to work hard and not be Krishna conscious. It's called the International Society for Krishna Unconsciousness. Krishna Unconsciousness. International Society. And that is bigger than ISKCON right now. Prabhupada's movement was, no, change everybody to Krishna consciousness. Somebody asked why he named it like this. I told him this is why, because it is already International Society for Krishna Unconsciousness. Prabhupada started Krishna consciousness. In a small way he started. Very small percentage of the population is Krishna conscious. Don't worry. But that's the aim of Prabhupada. That is the aim of meditation. That is the aim of yoga. That is the aim of all religion. That is the meaning of Sanatana Dharma. Falling in love with the Lord. Bhagavatam is all about Sanatana Dharma. Right? Everybody is discussing and splitting hairs over what is Sanatana Dharma. Especially the Hindus who are supposed to know it. They are busy discussing because somebody has raised an issue about his understanding that this is what it is, Sanatana Dharma, which is blatantly wrong and based on some political motives. And so people who really understand Sanatana Dharma are forced to answer and respond. The Bhagavatam speaks about it from the beginning to the end. Prabhupada gave a very simple definition. And here Narada Muni is instructing Vyasadeva to perform Sanatana Dharma, meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it's not meditation that simply makes you tired. It is not some work that you're doing. And it's not some specific prescription the doctor has given. It is relishing, pleasurable, highly enlivening. And that is the experience. Why will you not do it? Why will you not do it is the question. Why are you not doing it is the question. How can you miss this? That's the meaning of the meditation on the Supreme Lord. Meditation on the Supreme Lord is not some dry meditation on some light, on nothingness. At the end of the meditation, you're actually quite tired because you've been working very hard to meditate. You've been working very hard to meditate. But when you become a devotee, you see a sadhaka who is trying to meditate on Krishna, his sadhana is a little challenging only. But as mentioned in the purport, but the sadhana of the impersonalist is klesho adhikataras tesham avyakta saktate sasam avyaktahi gatir dukham. Dukham it is. The meditation on impersonal Brahman is plain misery. It is listed in the Bhagavad Gita and Krishna is telling it is dukham. Naturally you will feel very tired after doing that meditation. What to speak of feeling tired, it will say you should feel miserable. Avyaktahi gatir dukkam. Gati means the end, the result is dukkam. And that is the highest form of meditation people speak about in the whole society. All the followers, so-called followers of Sanatana Dharma meditate on nothing. It is so amazing to me that people so obviously do what is wrong. It is very amazing to me. It is only that in the Bhagavatam it pronounces what is correct very clearly. And it denounces dharma projita kaitavo atra paramo nirmatsaranam satam. Vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tatpatrayon mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni krite kimva paririshwara sadyo hridya varudyate atra kritibihi sushushubis takshanat. Such wonderful instruction. Dharma projita kaitava. The Bhagavatam totally rejects all false religions and propounds the highest Bhagavad Dharma, love of Godhead, love of Krishna. And it says, simply do it, there's nothing else to do. That is the greatest religion. Fall in love with the supreme absolute truth, Krishna. This is Sanatana Dharma. Why? If you ask, what is, let's break it down and understand why it is like that. That is explained by Krishna. Jatasya hi dhruvo murtyur dhruvam janmam mritasya cha tasmat apariharyam arte natvam sochitum arhasi. Krishna is explaining laboriously in the first and the second chapter to Arjuna how you are eternal. You are Sanatana. And I am also Sanatana, eternal. Everybody, all the kings in this battlefield are all Sanatana. Never was there a time when we were not. We exist eternally. Avinashi tu tad vidhi yena sarvam idam tatam. There is no vinasha. So, the so-called phrase that Sanatana Dharma should be eradicated. In English they call it oxymoron. You know what's an oxymoron? Because Sanatana means it is supposed to exist forever. You cannot say what is existing forever should be destroyed. But the meaning of Sanatana is it cannot be destroyed. The meaning of Sanatana is it cannot be destroyed. But instead you say no, destroy it. Destroy it. So it doesn't work like that. So it's called an oxymoron. If I tell you that contradictory things, I tell you. If I tell you, hold that fire and drink it. It's not water. I cannot hold it. I can't drink it. I can't say contradictorily things which are against the characteristics of something. So, to say that Sanatana Dharma should be destroyed, it means you do not know what is Sanatana Dharma. That's one thing we come to know is, that means you don't know what is Sanatana Dharma. Why? I am Sanatana. I am spirit soul. I am eternal. I am spirit soul. I am eternal. And Krishna is here telling that you are eternal. And then he is saying, I am also eternal. Natvam evaham jatunasham natvam neme janadipa. He need not say that I am eternal. I am God, so naturally I am, and you are coming from me. If you are eternal, I am definitely eternal. That's why it's mentioned, I am not only ordinary eternal, I am the chief among the eternals. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam. Among the eternal people, I am the chief. That's also mentioned. So, I am eternal, God is eternal. And my relationship with Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is also eternal. Bhakti is eternal. Bhakti is eternal. Relationship is eternal. Therefore, Sanatana Dharma means the eternal occupation of the soul. Prabhupada given a brilliant commentary on it. Sanatana Dharma means activity. Dharma means doing. Dharma means nice, proper activity of the soul. Sanatana Dharma means the eternal occupation of the soul. What is that? Seva. Serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada further explains by saying, Dharma has got another meaning. Dharma means religion, Dharma means duty, Dharma means characteristic. Intrinsic characteristic. Something very unique characteristic is called the Dharma. Prabhupada explained the Dharma of fire is heat and light. You do not see heatless, lightless fire. The Dharma of sugar is to be sweet. You cannot say this is sugar and it is not sweet. That means if the dharma of sugar is not there, it will not be sugar anymore. The characteristic, the main lakshana, the quality is not there, then it is not sugar. Then it's not sugar. Actually, in all these genetically modified foods, they remove the lakshana. You don't know that. That's why it is not what it is supposed to be. Tomato, genetically modified tomato, will be very big. Because normally when you grow tomato, it will never be so big. It will be very big. It will have seeds. If you cut, the juice will not fall down. If you cut pieces of it, it will sit in the sandwich very nicely. And if you keep it in the shelf for 2 months, it will be there without rotting. So actually you created something which is not tomato. So that in the name of tomato you can sell it and make money. But actually it is not tomato. Why? The dharma of tomato has been removed from it. Real tomato, if you bring it, it will be smaller, smell very nicely, very tasty. If you start cutting it, it will be juicy. Right? And if you cook it, and if you keep it in the shelf, within 1 day it will start rotting. Within 2 days it will be fully rotted. You can't use it. This is tomato. It is not that you change the lakshana of tomato and think that you have done a better job on tomato. You have destroyed the dharma of tomato. You have made it dharmaless. Unknowingly everybody does this. That is why they never understand what is Sanatana Dharma. First, you don't understand what is dharma. You destroyed the tomato. Same way, these Western philosophers and these Western ideas all destroy the dharma intrinsically of everything. This is their idea. Because they're actually asuric. They challenge the Lord's creation and what He has done. And they remove the basis of it. Then only they'll get the thrill that we have defeated the Lord. It's a competition. And then they produce a tomato which is completely different and which gives everybody cancer. And they'll not talk about it. No, don't spread that rumor. It's okay, let them eat tomatoes. And for cancer also we have a cure. We are working it out. This is adharmic. This is adharmic. So dharma means intrinsic quality. You cannot remove the quality. So everybody becomes a workman. The dharma of the human being is removed. Everybody is asked to go to work in the assembly line or in the morning and evening to the office. The same monotonous work you do, and he loses his feeling that he is a human being. And you also call him human resource. You call him human resource. How much can you do? And then you think, not enough, not enough. Better I go to robots. Robots can do more than you. And he has lost his identity as a human being, working like a robot. And then you say, I'll make a robot and do it better than what you're doing. I'm already become robot here. No, I reject you. You're not good enough robot. I'll make another robot that will be able to work more. And in this way, the human being, conscious human being is destroyed. He becomes a machine. Yantra rudhani mayaya. He becomes a machine. His dharma is removed. His dharma is removed. He suffers. He suffers untold suffering because he's been introduced to the industrial world and he's become a part of the machine, mechanically doing something. And then he loses consciousness. He doesn't know how to inquire about the things about life. He doesn't have connection with God. He doesn't have connection even with human beings. He doesn't have connection with himself. Completely destroy. This is adharma. You destroy the natural quality of the soul of the human being, his spirituality. So everything that is going on is adharmic because you're removing the quality. You're removing the quality. So Prabhupada explained that just like sugar's quality is sweetness and sweetless sugar is not there, it is no more sugar. He explained the intrinsic quality of the soul is service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Seva. Servant. I am eternally a servant of the Supreme Lord. Jivere Surupa Hoy Krishnere Nityadas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained, who are you? Keyami, Kene Amare Jare Tapatraya. So the Lord explained, you are an eternal soul, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord Krishna. His eternal servant is your Swarupa. Jivere Surupa Hoy. You, Jiva, your Surupa, your original identity is your servant. Krishnere Nitya Dasa. Eternally a servant of the Supreme Lord. This is your Dharma. So when you start serving Krishna, you are performing the Sanatana Dharma, the eternal occupation of the soul. It is not so easy for people to come to this conclusion by reading the entire Vedic literature. Because if you tell directly, people will not follow. So Vyasadeva made lot of indirect arrangements to lead them to Sanatana Dharma. That is Varnashrama Dharma. After that, it leads you to Sanatana Dharma. Simply service to the Supreme Lord. So, he was not happy himself. He had not directly told what I am supposed to tell. This is Sanatana Dharma. Worship the Supreme Lord. Think about Him. Serve Him. Develop love for Him. Manmana bhava madbhaktaha madhyaji mam namaskuru. Mame vaishasi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. This is Sanatana Dharma statement made by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita in the 18th chapter. Vyasadeva knew he had done indirect marketing. Didn't directly market Krishna Bhakti. So he was not feeling very happy. Whenever you don't directly perform Sanatana Dharma, you will be unhappy. Even if you are very religious. Even if you are very religious, if you don't directly indulge in Sanatana Dharma, that is service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because your nature is seva, you will be unhappy. You can see that. Even in devotional service we become unhappy because somewhere we have not done things consciously in pure devotion, Sanatana Dharma. So Vyasadeva felt unhappy and morose. After writing the entire Puranas and the Vedas and Upanishads, everything, something is wrong. And that is when Narada Muni appeared. And he spoke to him the Srimad Bhagavatam. And told him, you meditate on Krishna. And you write. That is what he did. He meditated according to his Guru's instructions. He came to know what is wrong in my composition, what I did not do. And so he meditated and he saw. Maya tad apashayam. He saw material nature. He saw the living entity struggling inside material nature. He saw Krishna's internal energy. He saw Krishna and his beautiful form. He saw everything, Krishna and his energies. And he had a first-hand experience. Then he wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why it's mentioned, Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite. Mahamuni means Vyasadeva. Krite means he wrote. Kim va parerishwaraha. What is the necessity for any other scripture? Sadyo hridyavarudyate atrakritibihi sushushubhis takshanat. Sadhya hridayo, that the person who is doing the sadhana, if he simply, focusedly reads the Bhagavat and involves himself deeply, takshanat, that moment Krishna will be manifest to him. The Bhagavatam guarantees that. That Sanatana Dharma will be within your hands. If you actually, seriously read the Srimad Bhagavatam out of love for Krishna, this will happen to you. So, Vyasadeva did that. He already had this experience, he did that. Then he wanted his son to be the next person to hear it. It is mentioned that he did not speak to his other disciples. Vaishampayana, Jaimini, all of them were there as disciples. They were busy giving their own understanding of what Vyasadeva said. But he waited for Shukadeva Goswami. And Shukadeva Goswami, by arrangement of the Lord, came back to the house to meet his father to hear Bhagavatam. And in this way he imparted the whole Bhagavatam to Shukadeva Goswami. Shukadeva Goswami's mouth, it came out filled with rasa. Sukha mukhat amrita dravasamyatam pibatha bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavuka. It came out of Shukadeva Goswami's mouth filled with rasa, dripping with love for Krishna, relationship of Krishna with his devotees in Vatsalya rasa, in Madhuri rasa, in Sakhya rasa, all these rasas. That is Bhagavatam. It is a Rasika Grantha. And Vyasadeva was able to accomplish it because it's coming in line. In this way, we should take the Bhagavatam coming in the Parampara line. Should not speculate on your own something. If you read the Bhagavatam of Prabhupada, and if you very carefully follow it, you will experience Krishna. Prabhupada has written it for that purpose, that you must experience Krishna in love of Krishna, in ecstasy of Krishna, in Ananda. This book is designed for that. If you read it carefully, chant Hare Krishna, boom, you become a devotee. It's mentioned that. Tada rajastamo bhavaha kamalobhadayaschaye chetayeter anavritam sitam satve prasiddhati vidyate hridaya grantis chindyate sarva samshayah kshiyate sarva karmani drishta evatmanishware. The process is mentioned if you continue to read Bhagavatam. Tada rajastamo bhavaha kamalobhadayaschaye. All these modes of material nature slowly will leave you, especially rajas and tamas. And you lose unnecessary material hankering and desires. Anavritam, uncovered. Sthitam sattve prasiddhati. You become situated in pure goodness. Right? And because of that, vidyate hridaya granthis. The hard knot of material attachment in the heart, hridaya granthi, that will be uncut. It will be cut. Vidyate hridaya granthis, chityate sarva samshayah. All type of doubts will go. Kshiyate cha asya karmani. Everything, all these other activities will become shrunk. It will become nothing. Drishta evat manishware. You will see yourself, you will see Krishna. This is the result of reading Bhagavatam. Whatever happened to Vyasadeva will happen to you. This is the guarantee given by Vyasadeva himself. This is explained by Narada Muni to Vyasa. And Vyasa experiences it, writes the Bhagavatam, explains to Shukadeva Goswami. Shukadeva Goswami comes and explains to a huge audience of very high class VVVIPs. Parashara Muni is sitting, Vyasadeva is sitting, Narada Muni is sitting in the audience when Shukadeva Goswami is speaking. He's a 16-year-old boy speaking. Everybody is hearing. Sukhamukhat amrita dravasamyutam. It's full of amrit, nectar, he's speaking. And Parikshit Maharaj is questioning. He's creating answers from Shukadeva by asking him amazing questions. In this way, Bhagavatam is spoken. It is so wonderful that it is such a great blessing that if we read the Bhagavatam and discuss it and control ourselves from other types of things in our mind, control ourselves from sleeping, control ourselves from thinking other things and focus on the Bhagavatam like Parikshit Maharaj focused and read the Bhagavatam, we will be transported to the spiritual world. That is directly mentioned many times. And anybody who reads Bhagavatam sincerely, seriously, will actually understand this. It's true. You become stuck to it. Wow, the things happening. It's so amazing, the things that are written here. Which goes from one to the other to the other. It is like they say, you cannot put it down. You cannot put it down. That's why people simply sit and read. They retire to Vrindavan and said, don't come behind me, see you. I chant Hare Krishna and sit and read Bhagavatam all day. Because that is what I'm supposed to do in life. In the human form of life, I'm supposed to do that. I'm supposed to find time to read. Because they all work so hard to give this Bhagavatam to us. Vyasadeva did so much work, Narada Muni did so much work, Brahma did so much work, Krishna did so much work to send the Bhagavatam to you. And it will be lying in the shelf. You don't want to read it. You have no time to read it. What are you doing with your time that you don't have time for reading Bhagavatam? Everything should move around reading of the Bhagavat. And then life will be wonderful. This is a paradigm shift that we need to bring in. Everybody should be busy hearing and reading Bhagavatam as much as possible. Now the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust has produced all the books in different languages in audio book form plus e-book format. And you can use your phone and it'll, okay, you cannot read, I am tired, my eyes are very tired, I've been on the screen whole day in my job. Don't look at the screen, you can hear. You can hear. You are feeling fresh, today is a holiday, look at the screen and follow. Bhagavatam has come so close. You're not able to read. It is too heavy, the Bhagavatam, for you to carry it, hold it. Okay, will come in the form of thing was very light, very close to you. Will enter your private space in the form of sound, Shabda Brahman. What all Krishna is doing for you. What amount of hard work is being done so that you will hear the Bhagavatam. So, the best way for us to serve all these great personalities, including Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, is to read the Bhagavatam. It's very simple. Open the Bhagavatam and read it every day, as much as you can. Whatever needs to be done, you do it and come back to the Bhagavatam again and keep reading it. Everything that you do should be a disturbance on the Bhagavatam reading. That should be the description. Anything you do, going to bathroom, eating, showering, answering the phone, doing something that you need to do, is a disturbance on your reading of the Bhagavatam. Life is meant for reading Bhagavatam. In between you get a little disturbed, that's okay, that's part of life. But you must return to the Bhagavatam. This way you make Bhagavatam the substratum. I will go from that and do anything and come back to that. People have substratum sense gratification. Anything else is a disturbance on my sense gratification. But you make Bhagavatam the substratum. Anything for me is a disturbance on my reading Bhagavatam. Morning to evening, you keep it open and you read. In between, you answer the phone call, cook for your children, do this, and while cooking also you put it on. 50% disturbance only. If you design your life inside your head like this, then definitely you'll go back to Godhead at the end of life. Because you'll constantly be hearing, constantly be thinking of Krishna. That is what Prabhupada has worked so hard for us to do that. Right? If you don't, it is mentioned you'll become very weak spiritually. I find whenever I'm traveling, this thing, I don't read Bhagavatam, I do feel very dry. For that matter, any book of Prabhupada, if I don't get up, read or teach or do something, you'll feel dry. Most of the devotees have to keep reading somewhere. Otherwise, they'll not like it very much. It has got, Bhagavatam has got that potency to make you get attracted like that. Once you're attracted like that, you are very safe. Only thing is, you'll always be in worry and anxiety, why I'm not able to read. And you'll go back to it. That is very healthy. That's very healthy. Right? So these are the ways we should act on the instructions given by Narada, by Vyasadeva and all these great personalities. They are very worried about us. people in Kali Yuga. That's why they made all these preparations for a safety net you can fall into. So it's our duty to read Bhagavatam, distribute this Bhagavatam culture, distribute Bhagavatam to others, and in this way engage everybody in Krishna consciousness. Reading of the Srimad Bhagavatam, understanding it. Then life is successful and you have Krishna's mercy. Om Tat Sat. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. Any question or comment? He saw. It's not a question whether. It is described in the Bhagavatam. He saw. In Kali Yuga, what they will do, what they'll be doing. Everything he saw. Because he's a Trikalagni. Three, past, present, future they can see. That is their capacity. What people will do in the future, you can see from the present and understand. You just have to extrapolate it. It's called projection. Economy is projected. This is what will happen in 2030. The economy will be like this. India's population will be like this. Because from watching what you're doing now, you can make out what it will be 10 years later, more or less. Isn't it? So even in the material world, they can tell you what will happen a little bit in the future. It's nothing very different. Artificial intelligence will happen, this will happen, this will happen. It was predicted even 30 years back, 40 years back. That's what people will do. Computers will take over. It will be like this, it will be like this. It's happening. Movies were made. It's happening. So actually speaking, it is not something very great to predict the future. But to predict the future in such great detail, you need tapasya, which Vyasadeva had. So he was able to tell, I can see this is what is going to happen. And therefore I should write the Bhagavatam for all of them. He wrote. How is it possible he saw? He saw. How is it possible? It may not be, you may not be capable of understanding the mechanics of how he was able to see. Because it's not anything material. It did not happen in a material process, 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. It's mystical. Jnanam paramaguhyam me yad vijnana sagitam sarahasyam tadangam cha gatita grahana gatihi. Krishna is explaining that understanding me, knowing me is not so easy. It's paramaguhyam, very confidential. Only if Krishna allows you, you can be able to see it. Those details, I do not know. I am not in charge of that database, or I don't know. I don't keep contact. But the fact is that Vyasadeva is there in the Himalayas. Even Madhvacharya went and met him personally. And there are many sages who are in the Himalayas doing good for the people of the age of Kali. They are doing tapasya, homa, yajna, that thing, this thing for all of us. Of course, we don't care about anybody. We just care about money. Money is the most valuable thing. Why are you bringing Vyasa and all these things inside? Alive and all. What is the meaning of alive? A soul is eternal. That's all. When you see, they will have a material form. Because we are material. We are seeing materially only. Are you seeing spiritually? Are you seeing me as spirit soul? With glowing body and spiritual form? Why? So what is the use of saying, are they material or spiritual? Even if they are spiritual, you cannot see. What is the big deal? If I tell you, no, spiritual form. I will say, go and see him come. It's not possible to prove to you. These are all theoretical, hypothetical questions. Is Vyasadeva in his spiritual form in the Himalayas? Yes. No, how do you know? You asked me. I told you yes. Why? Because that's what is mentioned in the Bhagavatam. I believe in it. But how can he be in the spiritual? Why can't he be in the spiritual form? These are all, questions that don't have an answer. It's based on faith. The whole Bhagavatam is explaining to you that you are eternal, you are spiritual. So what is the meaning of asking, is Vyasadeva alive? That question comes only if he has a material body and is inside the karma cycle and is going through karma. He can go anywhere he wants. He is Krishna. It's a powerful incarnation. He doesn't have to think about, going here, there and all that. Even Narada Muni was flying between planets, interplanetary travel he was doing. How he was doing? Yogis and Munis are very powerful. They have that mystic siddhi to move. Now in Kali Yuga, nobody has siddhi. Yes, they can do everything. They were doing it also before. We are in Kali Yuga. You have to use your car, vehicle, put petrol, take it and go. It will go under repair. Then you have to, this thing. It's a very, we think it's very advanced mobility and all that. No, it's very low class actually. It's not something very high class. Real high class is, I decide, I want to go to Yamaloka. Boom, is in Yamaloka. They'll call it teleportation now. You want to teleport yourself. They were doing it already. Narada Muni was doing that. Boom, he will appear in the assembly suddenly. Like that. Narada Muni has come. Nobody asked him, how you came, Narada Muni? Which airways you took? Nobody asked him all that. They know he is Siddha Purusha. He can come. So it's not a big thing, all these things. It's all wonderful thing now because nobody can do even the smallest mystical thing. But it's not a big thing those days, in the previous yugas. People were doing interplanetary travel, everything. Now you have to Chandrayaan 3, you have to take so many things they made and they built it and they floated in space and then it burst off and then they did again and then this is a little gross. Using machines and trying to do. They were just going by themselves. They are machine. I am already machine, Baba. I am going to the moon. Boom, they went to the moon. Read the book Easy Journey to Other Planets. Prabhupada explaining in that. Any other question or comment? Pardon? If you read Gita and then read the Bhagavatam, you will understand Bhagavatam nicely. It's like saying, should I do my undergraduate for doing my PhD? I think it's better. Because, Prabhupada explained that Bhagavatam is postgraduate. And you must do your undergraduate before you do your postgraduate. Because normally it is recommended. There are some 2 or 3 freak guys who can directly do postgraduate. Very, very rare. But generally speaking, it's better to read the Gita and then go into the Bhagavad so that all basics are understood first and you can actually understand the deep imports of the Bhagavatam. But that does not mean that you should wait because you're taking a long time for the Gita. It's okay, once in a while you can read the Bhagavatam also. Nice stories and all that you can read. No problem. Okay? Om Tat Sat. Whenever you feel sleepy, get up and walk. Very simple. How to control sleep? If you are lying down in the bed for the sake of sleeping, then you are going to sleep. You are not controlling sleep, you want to sleep. But if you are sleeping in the wrong place, then you do some physical activity that will counteract it. So feeling sleepy, in the Bhagavatam class. Get up and stand. Go wash your face. I remember one place where I don't remember the name of the place. They had a small squeegee bottle going around in the Bhagavatam class. Anybody feeling sleepy? In the eyes or in the hand. They call it a Bhagavatam aid. They call it an aid. It is going around a small squeegee. Somebody's squeegee. I found it very funny. They're showing their faces. Put on the face. Go take some action. Sleep is not something that is, oh, I'm feeling sleepy. It's all mental. It's not that you're feeling sleepy. Get up if you're feeling sleepy. Go walk around, put some water on your face. Sleep is gone. Sleep is simply ragging you. I'm feeling sleepy. If you go to sleep on the bed, you'll not get sleep. But in the Bhagavatam class, only sleep will attack you. There is a story for that also. In the Madhurya Kadambani, it's called Laya. Sleep will attack you, especially when you read Bhagavatam. But Parikshit Maharaj said, I am not eating, I am not sleeping, I am not drinking any water, I don't need. I am fully fixed in hearing. When you don't have focus, when you're not absorbed, you'll sleep. Maya will take over, Tamogun will take over. So sleep means Tamogun is attacking you. So at least get up and walk. Do some Rajogun to counteract the Tamogun. That's all. Don't eat too much before sitting for Bhagavatam class. Yeah. I don't know, Prabhu, you have to ask him only. It sounds a little far out. If you sleep, you are going to another world. If you sleep, you are going in Tamoguna. It's not another world, it's here only. Maybe. I don't know. I don't have information to say no to that. Anything is possible, but you have to verify it. These are technical informations. I don't have the immediate access to that. But sleep means the body sleeps. The soul doesn't sleep. No, it will actually be actively engaging in experiencing some things. That time is called a dream. But it can also be inactive. It can remain dormant. We don't have 4 brains. We have 1 brain. Brahma has 4 brains maybe. He needs it. Maybe he needs it. But we have 1 brain which we don't use even maybe 0.001% properly. And it is mentioned that sleep means that sleep is required for you, both for the subtle body and the gross body. And sleep is required to rejuvenate yourself. And therefore, you have to take rest. But the soul doesn't have to sleep, actually. So many times, even though you have slept, when you get up, you know that something happened. You are in that there is an experience. It's because of the soul remaining awake. At the same time, it's also mentioned that the soul becomes dormant, doesn't do anything, because the body is not available. For conditioned soul, unless the body is available, he cannot do anything in the material world. Right? Like that, there are many small technicalities. We can refer to that and actually find out. There are books and Puranas that state all these things in detail. Garuda Purana states a lot about the activity of the soul after death, before death, and sleep, and this, that, other thing. Okay? Om Tat Sat. Yeah.
Can devotees say for IAS and IPS services will affect our devotion?
Devotees can aim for anything. If you allow it to affect your devotion, it will affect. It's not that we can say that IAS and IPS go ahead, it will not affect your devotion. There are devotees who do all sorts of things. They do PhD and everything, but they use everything in the service of Krishna. You know how to dovetail everything. Then it does not matter. That's why you should take advice. I don't know directly about your details, but you should take advice from your mentor, from your person who is helping you in your spiritual life, and then also judge from your own lifestyle whether this will endanger my Krishna consciousness. And you must design it around Krishna consciousness. You must know how much of the material activity you can take without damaging your sadhana. And accordingly, you should balance it. For different people, it is different. Some people can do IPS and IAS and continue to chant 16 rounds every day and read Bhagavatam, and they know how to discipline themselves. They are focused and they are resilient, and they have, full understanding why it is necessary. It's like asking, there are some very basic necessary activities that we need to do, like sleeping, taking bath, eating my breakfast, lunch, and this thing, keeping clean, breathing good air, drinking a lot of water. These are all necessary, no? It's necessary. Nobody will compromise on these things, because then life will become very difficult to live. In the same type of value you should also give for Krishna consciousness. You must do a certain level of Krishna conscious activity, otherwise it will affect your spiritual life. So that basic, don't allow that to be affected. Just like the basic of me, I need 6 hours sleep, I need to eat at the right time, I need to, relax a little bit. Yukta ahara viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapna avabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. Very nicely explained this question by Krishna. Otherwise, life will become painful. The problem is if you remain disconnected with the spiritual aspect of yourself, life will become very challenging, whether you're IPS or IAS, doesn't matter. So it is not a question that should come, if I do IPS, will I affect my spiritual life? No. Is your spiritual life steady enough for you to do IAS, IPS? Is a counter question that I like to ask. That you should only judge. You should judge. You should work with your mentor and your counselor. Can I do this? Is it too much for me to manage my spiritual life and this? In the sadhaka stage, some people are not very expert at managing. So unless you become expert, don't do it, because it will affect your sadhana. Right? Suppose you have a basic sadhana, I chant 6 rounds per day, I read, for half an hour, I, associate with devotees for half an hour. I have some things that I have to do every day, just like I have to sleep for 6 hours, I have to eat my breakfast, lunch. These similarly requires for spiritual life to be sustained, certain things you need to do. To chant my japa like this, I have to do this, I have to do that like this. If you don't do that, then your IPS, IAS, IKS, IZS, whatever you do, is of no use. Don't do anything that will affect your spiritual life as it is now. And actually, as you expand it more and more, you become more confident, then you will see that it becomes natural. Then many things you are able to do, although you are doing this. You become expert at managing it. Okay? Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.